It's sort of refreshing to hear a politician say that he is not committed to arbitrary targets, particularly when it comes to immigration. One of the problems with Mrs. May's arbitrary targets, and therefore with her hostile environment, was that it meant that in order to meet these arbitrary targets, the Home Office clamped down on student visas because these were well documented, and therefore it could get some way to meeting targets simply by sifting through paperwork which already existed. So instead of doing the real work and finding people who were who had genuinely ducked under the system and were here illegally, the Home Office focused on people who had a mountain of paperwork, and there might have been here and there a technical and ridiculous glitch. And in fact, I know many people who were caught in that technical and difficult glitch, and often not of their own making at all. Often it was the fault of the school, and indeed, I'm still caught up in that sort of nonsense. Not so long ago, there was a fellow who tried to make an application to a school I know well. The school took the money and still hasn't returned it, although it had no way of processing the application. Absolutely abhorrent. And the same thing is going on with so many people who are trying to go through the legal, so-called legal routes. The number of people involved in taking money from migrants who wish to come to this country through, quote, a legal route, because the paperwork is so impenetrable, because the decisions are so unfocused and so difficult to anticipate. The number of people who make money off vulnerable individuals trying to come here, whether as students or as paid labourers or as spouses, is astronomical. And it's a vicious and nasty industry on the back of a completely impenetrable and unclear system which has been set up by our government. The only way forward is clarity and simplicity. But that was not what Mrs. May wanted, and that same confusion and chaos and smoke and mirrors was how she expected to, quote, deliver Brexit. She failed. She failed because when it comes to the test, that smoke and mirrors, all that sort of vapid wordplay, goes nowhere because people see it for what it is. It's just bluster and gobbledygook. We need a reset. We need our politicians. We need our bureaucrats to stop sprouting words that mean nothing, and to stop giving words that have some sort of meaning, to stop giving them a very precise and specific meaning that one can only possibly gain by being on the inside. A short while ago, somebody pointed out to me the difference between gender and sex. Actually, there is no difference. It's just a difference which has been acquired in the last few years. There is no difference etymologically. These words are almost interchangeable, as with quite a lot of words, and people will speak quite confidently about how one word means something different to another. Actually, it's how these words have acquired a very specific and often a legal meaning in the last few years, and partly because of this climate of obfuscation and complexity, which doesn't need to be the case. English prides itself on clarity, and we are losing clarity.